Oh, live, right?
Yeah.
Am I-
That's good, yeah.
Okay. I don't know either. I'm confused. Andrew has officially left the building.
He did something.
Yeah, he's gone.
He just left
Andrew's
us to our
like,
devices. What is he thinking? That's not a good idea.
Andrew's like, it's late and I'm ready to go.
Right.
See
He's
you
like,
later.
I'm hungry, fooling around with all this foolishness. I got time. Oh my goodness gracious. I've been dealing with allergies all day. I know nobody can. I just thought I would share that.
Tis the season.
Yes.
Hmm.
Too much.
There's Andrew. Oh, hi.
Hey Drew.
Hey, Andrew.
He's like, I'm not talking to y'all. Is this your first Google Hangout, Tamia?
Yes.
Mine too. I was like, how does this thing work?
That's what I was asking the same thing. I
I
was
was like, so what happens? I don't understand.
trying to figure it out for the last hour.
Drew is just smiling. He's like, listen, I'm gonna make this work.
You have some really great teeth.
Do I?
Yes, you
Crap. Wait a minute, they're not paying me. Let me take that back.
You
Baking
do.
soda and vinegar.
They look good. Yes.
Peroxide and baking soda.
Old school.
Old school for real.
Y'all both are on fleek.
Oh, stop yourself. Stop yourself.
Mhm.
But
The
yeah.
hair and the lipstick. I see y'all.
I know, right? She's making me feel like I should go put a little pop of color on.
Well,
My
there's a
right
song
in
on the album
my
called Lipstick, so I figure I'd represent.
Mhm.
I feel like I need to go put a little something on a little pop pop. Look, I call myself just, trying to go au natural. Now it look a little crazy in this
Oh,
light.
you look beautiful. You look beautiful.
I need a little pop of something. The great thing about this is I can be super comfy. You guys have no idea what I have on from the waist down, which is fantastic.
Likewise.
Like I was like, let me zhuzh this a little bit. Ready?
Yeah, it looks good.
Doo-doo.
So people can see you. I'm still not quite sure how this works.
Girl, you're asking the wrong one. I don't know. Let me stop because I was gonna start lying and making up some stuff.
So Andrew, everyone that joins, do they pop up in there or no?
We can't hear you, Andrew.
What is Andrew doing?
I think Andrew, can you call Andrew? He's frozen or something. He's stuck. Andrew. What?
Andrew been drinking.
I think Andrew left. I think he just posted a photo of himself.
I know, right? That's
He's stuck. He hasn't blinked yet.
You guys are live.
Yeah,
Oh, we are?
we're live. Yeah.
Okay.
But can you hear us, Andrew?
He says yeah.
Oh, okay.
He can?
Yeah, he can. So he said we're live. Yeah.
That's
So,
yeah.
so we're good to go.
But
Okay.
who's he talking to?
Sorry.
On my end, he's talking on the old-fashioned telephone.
Look at the clapping. Listen, let us in on the joke, Andrew. It's confusing. What's happening?
No, so Andrew's good to go. He said
Oh.
it's all live. We're good to go. I don't know what that. just has a frozen photo of himself, I guess. I don't know.
Right. That's why I was confused. I'm like, what?
So I know there are people watching because they're sending it to me. I'm like, how are you even on here? Because I can't even see you.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so wait.
Yeah. So all this is
All these shenanigans that we're doing, people are watching.
yes, pretty much. That's
Well, let me
exactly
get back
what.
on my best behavior then.
Yes.
So, okay, so wait. So I thought,
Okay, so you could start and start.
And go.
oh, okay, good. I was like, wait a second. I thought people were going to be on the bottom joining in.
That's what I thought too, but I guess not. They can. I think they can do it without doing that. This is
Ah.
what happens when you get two old people.
Don't say it to me. Don't you say it, girl. If you say it, I swear.
Okay, let's go. And go.
But we're not going to say it out loud.
We
So,
won't.
Tamia, I am so glad to be joining you and for you to be joining me on this Google Hangout. I understand that we are live. People are checking us out. So we had a few technical difficulties at first, but as with anything, que sera, sera. Yes?
Yeah, we figured it out.
Yeah, that's what we do. So let me ask you this. Everybody that I've talked to that I said, oh my God, I'm going to be doing a Google Hangout with Tamia, everyone was so excited because they were like, I just love Tamia. And they've been waiting and waiting and waiting for you to come out with something new. Do you feel the pressure? I mean, because how long has it been since Beautiful Surprise?
You know, I think it's only been 3 years, but you know,
It seems like an eternity, right?
it is.
Is there any pressure then on you sometimes when you hear people say things like that and they're waiting on you like the second coming?
Well, you know, the crazy thing is that with each project, the years have gone by, and like even with Beautiful Surprise, when someone pointed out that it's been, 3 years, I couldn't even believe it. It just goes by so quickly. Life happens. So, of course, I think, you do feel a little bit of pressure when anytime you're doing a project because you want it to, you want some sort of direction. And, I don't want to just be recording music to record music. It all kinds of, I'm an artist, so we're sensitive. So, yeah, so I have to, I have to kind of feel it. And when I went to the studio with this one, it all happened like so quickly that it was crazy. It was really crazy how quickly this thing.
Right. So what is it that is different, I guess, that let you know this was the right time since Beautiful Surprise?
Right.
In terms of what came to you musically and what you were feeling in life?
Yeah, I think all of that. I think, kind of my life, and it kind of had that space that kind of opens up where you're musically you're just like ready to go. And my family, obviously, that they're important, so that kind of felt right as well. And then I musically, just speaking to people and talking about music and things like that, and the direction, it all kind of just really fell in place, and everyone was ready to go. And I had like a studio in Atlanta with 3 rooms working at the same time, and it was really, really, like, that was really fun to me. That's something that I'd never done, and so creatively it really just sparked something. And then from that, we were finished. Like it was like that fast.
Wow. And so the title is Love Life.
Yes.
And did you come up with that based on where you are right now in your life, that you're loving life, everything is falling just as you think it ought to be, and the timing of that is right? Or what kind of space? Is that kind of how you came up with the title Love Life?
Yeah, kind of, one reason, because, when I started to really get songs that I really loved, they were really all like love songs and happy, and, just really fun. It's almost like a love album and loving life. So it's like a happy kind of love album. So clearly this is the space that I'm in. So, I think, it's just being a little bit more mature in the music business, and obviously in who I am, and as an artist, I think I'm just, just really musically in a good place.
Yeah. Well, I listened to the album. I can definitely tell. Well, I'm a huge fan of yours, and I don't just say that because I'm on with you, because I'd say that even if you weren't in front of me. But it's the truth. Uh, and I'm just like a lot of people out there, very difficult to kind of satisfy when it comes to the ear. But I think the one thing that I know about you is that when I get a Tamia album, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like it all the way through.
Right.
And when I guess when you're putting that album together, do you put like what method do you use to make sure that every song on there is going to be a good fit and is going to be a good reflection of who you are as an artist at that moment?
Yeah.
Because you're right now, Love Life is kind of where you are, and listening to this album, I can see the difference between then and Beautiful Surprise, between Beautiful Surprise and now, and listening to the songs, even, songs like Chase Lounge and
Right.
some of the songs that are a little more sexy, you know what I mean? It's almost like very comfortable in your skin.
Yeah, I think for me, I definitely feel like people who like my music, they do want to hear the entire album. They don't just buy a single and like, okay, see you later. So that's important to me, and it's also important to me that every song that I put on the album, I want to sing it for the next, hopefully 20 more years in the music business. So, because there's a lot of songs that I perform that were never singles, that people just, they purchase the album and they love the songs, like, for example, Still was never a single, but it's a song that I perform, in every show. So to me, that's important because that says that these people, that my fans were out there and they were listening to the entire project, which is kind of how I grew up. I kind of grew up listening to the entire song and reading the entire album and reading the credits and seeing, reading the thank yous and seeing who they knew. And, it was always interesting to me, for me to see who knew who in the music business. But yeah, I think, I just want to be able and be proud to sing the songs that I put on a project for, forever. So it's important for me that you feel sort of that it's a fun ride. It isn't just, one ride and leave. I want to keep you there for the duration of the project. So I would never personally put songs on, on my album that I don't like, number one. That I don't.
Songs? Would you do a ratchet song?
Did I what?
Would you ever do a ratchet song?
It depends on what we all consider ratchet, I guess. I mean,
I don't know what ratchet is.
I don't know. It depends on what the melody was. And are we singing it in a ratchet way, or I don't know. It's just sometimes, sometimes there are songs on that are like, that aren't like heart moving songs, but for some reason I just connect to them. It's a fun song, I can hear it in my voice when I listen back to it. There in making an album, there is a process. Obviously you have a ton of songs and you're listening to them for a long time before you guys, get a chance to hear the 11 that I chose. But sometimes there are songs that just for, because they feel good to me, I put them on, and usually those are, those tend to be the favorites when I perform live.
Right. Is there anyone that you just absolutely can't stand to perform, but you
I
have
would
to?
never say that.
But you have to tell us.
No, there aren't any that I just can't stand to perform. I will say that when I perform live, there are several times where I look down to see what song is next, and I think, oh my goodness, I have like 10 more big ballads to do, vocally. So I think that's the only thing when I'm performing live. It's all about, those, like, I've been blessed to have and fortunate to have a lot of sort of big vocal records, and when you put those songs back to back to back to back live, it can be a challenge.
I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I can give you "You Put a Move on My Heart" fresh, just out the box, but after singing, 20 other songs, it can be a bit much.
It's gonna be a little different.
It's gonna be a little bit different, yes.
A little bit different. So, what's your favorite song on this album? I know I've picked out what I think is my favorite
Yeah.
song. What's your
Oh,
favorite?
tell me. So tell me what your favorite songs are, and I'll tell you about it.
I actually like Nowhere.
Okay, and you ain't going nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
It's Tricky and Dream.
Yes,
We
I
were
like
in
that.
America, and we that was one of those sort of sessions where we were working, and we ended up doing two great songs, Special and Nowhere, and we also got in very competitive games of ping pong.
Aw.
But it's all about having a good time too. Yeah, we are all disgustingly competitive, actually.
No, that's such a good thing. Let me ask you something just really quickly. Like, do you think, not do you think, what do you think is the biggest misconception about you?
The biggest
People have in
misconception.
general. Yeah.
I think people think that I'm shy and quiet, and I'm actually, I don't think I'm shy and quiet. I am cautious. So when I meet people, I'm very kind of cautious, maybe in the beginning, but once I know you, I'm much more laid back than people think.
Hmm. Hmm. I will say when I first heard, no, I'm going to tell you something. This is really true. Uh, the moment I heard Sandwich and a Soda,
Right.
I was in love with it. But
Oh,
then my second thought was, is that Tamia? What? They're ride these curves. What?
right, right.
I loved it. And let me tell you something. When I put it on now, it makes me get my grown woman on. Like, dance. I'm like, I cannot believe. And so I often wonder, do you ever feel people think that about you when you're recording your songs or when you're even choosing a song? Do you think, well, will people see me in this way, or does it matter to you?
No, I mean I've had other songs like Can't Get Enough, and that have been a little like but I mean I'm a woman, and we are very we can be complicated sometimes, and we have many different sides to us. So um you know yeah, no, I guess I was just in a loving mood.
In the loving mood.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I know you're gonna at least get out and do some live performances. So are you planning a big tour to support the album? Like, are we gonna be
Absolutely.
all over
Absolutely.
the place?
Yeah, I mean I love I love to perform. A studio is great. I'm not a big studio person, but I love getting out there and kind of just performing the music, because it takes on an entirely different aspect than it does when you're recording the song. It's always great to see how people react to it, and
Yeah.
if they get kind of the same reaction that you did when you performed it, or when you put it on the album. It's always great to see that. So like I said, a lot of the biggest reaction songs that I get were never singles, so that's always great to see too.
Right.
And it's great to kind of feel that and connect with people through music.
Right. Do you ever get nervous, like before a particular perform? Like, what's the most nervous you've ever been?
Oh, the most nervous I've ever. You know what is that I something that I get the most nervous is performing national anthems. It's really strange, but it's like you're by yourself. It's quiet. Everyone's waiting for you to see a song, and actually, they're not waiting for you. They're waiting for the game, and so, so they're waiting for you to sing this song, and there's always a line between seizing the moment and keeping
Right.
it full, and so when I perform for my shows, not really. I really don't get that nervous, because I have my band's on stage. They're my friends. I've kind of I've done the show and put the show together, in a way to which I can get out the nerves in the beginning, and so so it's fine. And all these people, they came to see you, so you feel like you're amongst friends. So I don't really get nervous when I perform my music, but when I'm performing, um, you know, during a national anthem or sometimes even someone else's music, then I'll get a little nervous.
And speaking of the national anthem, have you ever had a Carl Lewis moment?
No. No. And I think in your mind you think, okay, you better not forget the words. I think that's like every singer's nightmare, but
Yeah.
no, you definitely make sure you are well rehearsed.
Yes.
And
it was bad, right? I can say it. You may not want to, but it was bad.
It's nerve wracking though. And sometimes you can hear an echo in the building. So if you aren't used to performing and you aren't used to ignoring that, that can really, that can confuse you a little.
Yeah, and of course, in today's age with cell phones and videos, as you can see, it will live on and on and on and take on a life of its own. As in the case was, obviously, I'm sure, I don't know if you saw the fight, but I'm sure you heard about the whole Jamie Foxx thing and putting his own little spin on the national anthem.
Right.
And it can go bad really quickly.
Well, I actually left the room at that time when he started singing. So, but of course, everyone was talking about it. But that's the great thing about the national anthem. You put your own little, your own thing to it, and some people may like it, some people don't. That's the problem with singing a song that everyone's heard at times. That's the problem.
Right. No, I can see that. So who would be like your dream, like if you were putting together a show that was you and other people, what would be like your dream show? Like who all would be on the show? Obviously you'd be the headliner, but who else would you put on the show?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd be the headliner on my dream show.
Who would be the headliner? Who would that person be?
I don't know. Wow, I'd have to say Whitney Houston because she was sort of, she kind of, she was so regal and she is kind of the voice. I'd have Anita Baker on it. I'd have Marvin Gaye on it.
Oh God.
Yes. I would have Charlie Wilson and the Gap Band on it for sure.
Yes.
I'd have Bruno Mars. Yeah, I'd have Bruno Mars on it. I'd have Kanye because he would be really great. And I mean, how many singers can I have? This would definitely be like We Are the World.
It's your world. It's your world. You could have anybody.
What'd you say?
I said it's your world. You could have anybody.
Did I say Maxwell? I'd have Maxwell on it. It could go. This could go on for a long time.
So your new album, Love Life, comes out June 9th.
June 9th. Pre-order was today on iTunes, which is exciting.
Very exciting. Listen, I'm telling you, people are just excited about, good music. And like I said at the very beginning, I think people know when Tamia has an album, it's going to be ridiculously good. And I think sometimes people get a little disappointed sometimes when people come out with new albums because R&B, you can say what you want to, but for the most part, I mean, I know it has to change, but a lot of good music is just not really out there anymore. So I think people are really excited about, good stuff that you can listen to from beginning to end, and Love Life obviously is going to be one of those albums.
Do you feel like there's not a lot of good music, or that it's just, because I feel. Go ahead.
I mean, I personally think that the albums are good for maybe one or two songs for the most part. But I don't know if that is because of the demand is so high and you have to kind of keep up with what people want in this internet age, that I think the days of cultivating and really taking the time to listen to something and pick out really greatness, I just don't know if we kind of have that right now. You know what I mean? Like, think back in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. You could listen to an album and go like 3, 4, 5, 6 cuts deep, and sometimes I don't think you can do that anymore.
Well, I mean, I think obviously it is expensive to go, 6 cuts in now. So I think they try and have at least a couple on a project that are really good, and hope that people buy the album, because unfortunately nowadays you don't really get 4 or 5 singles in that are getting radio play, obviously because that costs money. But like I said, it is important that you have an album and a body of work that people want to, listen to the entire project, because it's important that I, you know, let people in a little bit to get to know me as an artist, and as a person, and those types of things help help me to get you to enjoy the entire album, not just one single. And it's like dating, speed dating or something. We're dating. We went on a couple dates and then that's it.
And that was it. But I also think it's also important because it is what allows an artist like you to be able to be gone for what, 3 years, 4 years, and come back and people still be excited. I think that is a true testament of being a great artist with a great body of work from when you started till now. Not everybody can do that. Sometimes now, when you take that type of time off, because it moves so fast, if you really weren't great, sometimes you can be forgotten.
Well, I mean, I certainly feel blessed to be able to, 20 years later to
Yeah.
be working on another project, and bringing that to the world. And certainly over the span of 20 years, that cycle has become a lot faster and faster. You used to be able to take several years off. That now it's like, you put a song out, next week. They're like, when's the next one? Like,
Right.
I just put it out last week.
Like,
So
slow down. Let me catch up.
you're like, man, like I literally it just came out yesterday.
I,
But yeah, so it is. It's and I think the trend is it's just gonna keep getting that much faster and faster. As far as the consumption of the product is going so quickly that if I'm fortunate enough to do another project, I definitely won't be able to take that much time off.
Well, I have no doubt that you will be fortunate enough to do another project. Again, I know June 9th, everyone is going to be excited about, this album, Love Life. People love Sandwich and the Soda. I could hear it, people were singing it. I was singing it. I was even tweeting lines in the song, like hashtag. Yeah, listen, I loved it.
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing you out on the road, seeing you perform live. And, I've said this to you before, but if you ever need, a little background. I don't want to toot my horn, but I'm just saying, if you ever need assistance, you know where to find me. I'm a huge fan of yours. Excited not only about the new project, but about, like I said, seeing you out on the road. So happy for you and for your success, and just love you to pieces.
Thank you, and I will definitely look you up on that offer when I get to You Put a Move on My Heart at the end of the show. I'll bring you out.
Respectful, that man. Really?
I will bring you out to sing that high note at the end. That'll be yours. Practice now. That's all you.
Give me at least,
when I come to New York, that's all you.
give me about 4 or 6 months in advance to practice that. You're not ready.
Got it. I will call you ahead of time. Andrew will be sure to let you know.
Right.
Well, Tamia, thank you so much for hanging out with us on this Google Hangout. And again, don't forget, guys, the album Love Life, June 9th. And, of course, we are so excited to see you out. Keep us posted on those dates that you're going to hit the road to be there.
I will. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
So much.
Bye.